All right. Yo. What is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are here in SS2-14. Now, this is a new KVK group that we're just starting, I guess, to cover a bit more. This is comprised of kingdoms 245 through 248. Again, they are one of the newer ones. You might find yourself a little discombobulated with how some of the numbers play out after you pretty much get to around 155 up, because it's kind of mixed in with some vanilla Season 2 and then some Season 2 plus. However, if I can stay alive and not die here, we are watching, this is Zone 3, just to kind of show you the outline here, right? We have, in more brez, this is ETS, ETD versus DYB. Now, the matchup, from what I'm understanding, let me come over here, let's pull the goods back up, is we have ETS, ETD, ETSP versus DYB ROEz in more brez. Now, again, ROEz is building here. I think they're capping their Spire at the moment. I don't know how much longer they have on this. Looks like they just started, so it's probably going to be a minute. Maybe they'll send some reinforcements. It looks like maybe they are, if they're moving. Oh, they are. So, yeah, okay, cool. So, look, you can actually see it looks like they're moving to come over and assist. I don't know how far they're going. Okay, so about here. So you can see they're coming in right now to come over and help. I don't know if any have made it yet, but some are coming over. DYB has 43 minutes left on that, and you can see they're pretty much fighting against ETS right now and some ETD. ETS is 24, a little under 25 minutes left on their flag that they're building here in purple. And then you could see in orange, or I guess it's orange-yellow, ETD has about 17 minutes on their flag. And then the farther away one, which is here in green, is ETSP. They got done capping their Spire, and then they have about 8.5 there on that flag. But bear in mind, they have to go the long way, right? So if they want to try and get over to where the action is, they basically have to do this. They have to go up here, over her, down, and then basically like here, right? To essentially kind of where the action is, if you will. Running that long way through the Spire. Or I think I went down a little bit too much, but basically through the Spire where the bridge is. And so again, that's where now, again, the action's been going on for about, I think it's been going on for about an hour so far. At least we should say, like, again, because like where the Spire action is here. There could have been some fighting that was happening earlier on, but this is the bulk of it right now. And from what I'm hearing, it's probably going to go on for a minute. Now, there are a couple other S2 plus kingdoms, right? In this is like the new 4 S2 plus kingdom group where we have I think it's 3 zone 3s and then a zone 4 that is opening already, right? So we have the SS2-14. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Ooh, this is actually nice. So yeah, we have the SS2-14. That's comprised of 174 through 187. However, I went to go and check that. That was supposed to be Noah, Bab versus SVTP and HP. And Noah has only built, I think, 1 or a few flags out of the gate, so it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of traction that's kind of being built there on that front. So I don't know how much action we're really going to get in that final zone. Then we get to SS2-12, which there is some fighting. It looks like that's going to happen in more brez. I guess it hadn't happened either yet, right? Because it's been maybe about 12 hours or so since it opened. Now, maybe some fighting or some PvP happened after the pass opened. I haven't seen any yet. But we'll check that out and see. And then that's between, for what we have there, that's SVG, ROGR, ROG, SVGA, and then that's the IL family, plus the EX and EXR alliances and more brez. SHP, THL, and MM, again, we'll see how that plays out. I didn't really see any fighting that was going on there. And then we get to SS2-13, which is the group before this one. Their Zone 3 is the HY11, TK11 versus EXP. It's supposed to be EXP Yoza, but I didn't see Yoza, so I don't know if they rebranded or how that played out. That's in Doolin. Their flags are about to connect, but that's specifically for HY and EXP. And then you get to more brez, and BR, BTR, and TFO were supposed to be against everyone, but there's only one other alliance in there with them right now, which is PBM. So we'll see. It looks like at the moment, SS2-14, which is the one we're watching now, based on what I saw, it feels like this is probably going to have the most. Well, I don't know if I want to say it's going to have the most action, but I'll say it has the most action thus far. That's a better way to word that. So, yeah. Again, we'll see. Because we're so close, and then you see ROEz, like we talked about, is coming up to assist. I have to imagine it's going to be a little pokey poke. But basically, once this tower finishes in 3430, and this one's 2015, right? I think we're going to be in a little better place. But again, that's just because they'll be closer to connecting, and then I think once the connection happens, we'll probably see a little bit more fighting. I'm shocked we're not seeing a little bit more all-out fighting with them trying to kind of stop each other's flag build. Right now, is that just kind of, obviously seems like something they could do. Yeah. And this is, again, I like this play here from some of the ETS people. Remember, we talk about this for Zone 3s on the S2 Plus map, where you're flagging close to the river. Like, this to me is a really good flag placement because it takes off some territory, but you can also put some cities there if you want to try and hit them from the back, right? Along with these, you could probably put maybe, 4, 5, 6, give or take, more cities over there on that side. So, again, I think it gives you a little bit more flexibility, and obviously ROEz is going to be a minute. I think once ROEz can build there, because I'm imagining they're going to have to, and that's going to be the difficult part, because they can't go west, right? They can't go north. Oh, no, I guess they can go north up here. Sweet. I actually thought that was going to be a problem for them, but it's not, right? Because it kind of almost makes it look like it's going to be blocking. But shockingly enough, it's not. Okay, cool. So I guess it just blocks here then. It does, yeah. So this actually works out a lot better then. They build to they'll build here. They'll go here, here, and then probably just straight across, right? Something like that. So then that way they can go this way, and then you can have them go. And again, that's barring that that plays out. Once they get to that point. But it will allow them a little bit. The challenge here is that because they're already connecting flags, you actually could have the ET group already pushing them, right? Where they're pushing the flag here because, they could be, right, if they wanted to attack it, where they'd be able to. Oh, nice. Oh, wow, here we go, finally. It looks like we're actually going to get a little play here now. Nice, let's get it. And I want to point out, man, this... I really want to point this out. Putting some mages up here, this is such a fantastic position for the DYB ROE group, right? Where you can attack at range in like the perfect area that's centralized, and the only access point is where ETS and ETD have to walk all the way around. This is again, I hope this gets utilized at some point, because this to me just seems like a really great position to be in. Again, if it's used correctly, right? This isn't a position you're going to be able to use when you're on the defensive. You'll be able to use this more so when you're on the offensive, because if you're defending and they're already encircling this plateau or this raised mound, you're basically going to get hit from all sides. So it's, again, it has to be used at the appropriate time. Yeah. I thought ROE was like coming in. There was like some more people. Oh, there they are. Okay. Yeah, so I think in this situation where you're going to fight this out, this is really where you're going to need to spread out and hit from multiple lanes, right? You need to hit from this side. Like, this is basically what needs to happen, right, at this point. So let's draw this out. You need to be attacking this lane, and this lane, and then if you can, this would be your fourth lane that you're going to hit from. And that's really where you need to be focusing on hitting from. It can't just be from one main area. If you're going to attack from a main area, then the main area you're going to attack from is going to be over here. Why? Because this is the widest berth that you're going to have for an open field area. This would probably be the second. Honestly, I don't even know if I would even say this, because this area is closest to the opponent's side that's over here. You don't want to be having to worry about that. So if they're going to fight, I would argue they fight here, where they could stage here and then push this way, and then fight on this lane and then fight on the mound, right? If you're gonna fight here, you need to fight kind of hugging the mountain, I think, a little bit more, so that way you're not getting picked off, one, by any turrets, and then two, by any units that are across the way. Again, we'll see if they do that, but to me, I think that's the strategy. Now, on the ETS side, they definitely should be fighting. If you're looking at here, let's go down a little bit more to where the flag is, right? So you can see some more positioning. So I think with them fighting from like this lane, I think this lane over here, potentially here, I think these are good plays for them. Again, this is okay if they want to fight here. I just think over here, for the most part, which is essentially on like their strong side, I think fighting over here like in this box and then basically just pushing this way is probably a little bit more ideal for them based on where their setup is. Again, we'll see how they play it out, but to me, I feel like that's a little bit more of a stronger play. Somewhat shocked, though, that we're not getting a little bit more PvP. I was actually expecting some more, and this is basically just turning into an overview video. I mean, look, you get what you get, right? You know, I'm sure if I was here an hour ago when that person, or when the person pinged me an hour from when we started, right, where they said, hey, there's some fight. I think they said there was some fighting going on. Let me see. Yeah, it was. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it was around like 9:30. So actually, it was 2 hours ago. There was fighting that was going on. So I'm like 2 hours late at this point. I'm sure there was fighting going on before they were building to each other, and then now it just is. Here we go. They have the rally coming down. They are moving in. How many lanes are they attacking from? One lane. Oh, slightly disappointing here. And they're attacking from the thinnest lane possible. Oh, my face hurts when I watch this. Okay. Only on that aspect. We'll see how it goes. But this, respectfully, this is just not the play. Yeah. It's why it pains me, right? Specifically, this is not where your main force should be fighting from, right? Your main force should be fighting over here, right, in the open field, not down. I mean, look, dude, you basically chose the thinnest lane to fight from, the lane that's going to cause the most amount of AOE damage to be done on you. Right, and we're talking from the initiators, right, from the aggressor standpoint, which is from the DYB and ROEz group, right? That's not where you want to fight from. And let me really hammer this point home here, too, as well. If we look at how thin this choke is, right? Like, look at this. This thing is so thin. They're hitting you from all over, right? Now, obviously, yeah, not everyone over here is doing damage, right? But you're getting damage done to you probably like through here, right? Give or take. Again, this is just now more people could be doing damage, right? And you see a few people here that are hitting. It's just, again, man, this is not, it does pain me. It pains me a bit. Yeah. Also need to look at like what the power levels are for these guys. That would probably be helpful. Let's see real quick. For 14. Let's see. I have no idea what my daughter's doing. Gee, oh my gosh, there's so much artifact damage that's being done. Oh. Yeah. I mean, this isn't bad, right? If you're going to, again, if you are going to fight here, I'd like to see a few more people up here, right, supporting. But now you can see DYB and ROEz getting pushed a little bit more. Hopefully they'll make this correction. So let's see real quick what we got. So ETS is at 9 bill. DYB is at 8.1 bill. ROEz is at 5.3. And then ETD is at 5. So, yeah, I mean, they have about 600 mil, 500 to 600 mil more power than these two. But I don't think it's anything crazy. Again, we'd have to look at, like, what does the top 200 player play out. Like DYB has someone, which looks like 5 Oriental characters. They're at 134 million. ETS has Tombs at 128 mil. DYB has Repo Clause, 122 mil. Snapcaster for ETS, 114. So, I mean, it's 2-2 right there in the top 5. And then it's 2 DYB and then 2... right, so if you're looking at the top 9, it's 4 and 4. If you get to the top 13, it's 7 and 5 in ETS's favor. Yeah, but again, I'd have to go through the whole thing to really look at, right? To really be able to kind of say one way or the other. Yeah, if I'm looking at this right, I think the activity from DYB and ROEz is good. It's just, man, picking this fighting lane, like this is like the last resort in my opinion, right? If you're gonna push here, it's like basically. Yeah, I mean, fighting actually over here wouldn't be bad. I'm pretty sure you're very much out of turret range. Yeah, you are. So you can fight basically from like where the gem to the wood node is at, right? Hugging the mountain. Yeah, I mean, man, this is rough. Yeah, they got like a little front over here. But, I mean, to be honest, man, I mean, ETS and ETD, I think when it came to that poke game early on, we're doing a good job, right? At least on the right track, we can say, where they're hitting you from this lane around this little mountain, and then here in between the mound and the mountain, and then they were also, I think, had maybe some people that were trying to come around the side, but I mean, right now they're fighting from 2 lanes. Right now, it looks like you got a few more people that are now coming around. I mean, again, this is the right play, right? You're attacking from multiple fronts. You're spreading out your forces. And then the thing is the reason why ETS and ETD have the advantage here is because DYB and ROEz are pushing through the thinnest choke point lane. And then they're able to have more people on the ETS, ETD side spread out. And, I mean, if you think about it, man, I mean, respectfully, the other reason why this is... I don't know if I want to go as far as saying the worst course of action, but the reason why, because you're choosing the thinnest lane and choke to go through, you're also creating the highest amount of AoE damage and artifact damage that can be done on your team because you chose to attack from this lane, right? It's different if they're pushing you and then you're funneling, like you're basically... your line is formed outside of the choke, and then you're kind of establishing a kill box similar to what almost they created for ETS and ETD, right? And to be honest, this is the right play. If you have whittled them down enough, then you push out. And I think ETS and ETD here again, I think it'd be nice to push with a few more, but I think this is the right idea. Where once you feel like you have some numbers advantage, then you go ahead and you push them. And it's okay to do that. Again, needing to be cognizant that when you're pushing on their side, right, remembering their refresh rates are probably going to be a little bit faster, so you just have to be constantly aware. I don't know how deep I would go. I probably wouldn't go too deep into territory. I would mainly focus on, okay, winning this open field here in the neutral zone, and then pushing east to the builders after maybe you clean up some of the PvP units that are attacking you, right? Because again, you don't want to just go kill all the builders, but then maybe they kill your force, right? So I think that's really important to make that distinction. This is also the time where it's like these people over here pushing down. You know, you could almost make the argument, let this group here clean up the builders, right? While this main force focuses on fighting and keeping the pressure on ROEz and DB players on their territory, right? You don't need to be the knight in shining armor, right? Again, I would give that job to a smaller force to go and do that, so that way you just don't take unnecessary damage from the DYB refreshments / reinforcements, if you will, right, that are coming in. Right, even though, yeah, killing a bunch of builders, I'm sure is super juicy, right? Doing it in the right order and understanding where the priority focus is for the different units or different battle groups or battalions, if you will, that are out there is just as equally as important, right? So you have good decision making on what needs to be done instead of, right, going, you know, for like the juiciest lemon out there just because it's there. So I think if it was me, I would have played this out a little bit different from the ETS ETD side. I wouldn't have had that kind of second. I wouldn't have like split the units up and have that second force go and attack the builders. I just would have had this force over here do that work, and then them just focusing the pressure. I mean, again, in the end, they still were able to get off the builders. And then, are they going to fight? Are they going to fall back? Okay, again, I'm okay with them falling back. Right, if that's how they're going to play that, and they're basically going to kind of regroup or reset, right? They were able to go out there and meet one objective. Excuse me, which in that moment is, hey, let's go. Again, we've reduced their fighting force down a bit. Let's now go out there and push because we have more numbers in this moment. Let's take advantage of this and let's go ahead and clean up their builders on the flag. And then, you know what, we'll regroup and maybe try it again. So, and you could see even now, like the main force is kind of fleeing to the widest open area. And again, as I was saying, I think that's where they need to try and fight from. I guess that could be also a little indicative of like how they're building their flag, right? They're building their flag wide instead of building it here, right? So, I mean, that's something too. And obviously, we'll have to see how this one plays out. Are they going to end up building a little wider here? And you can see, like, they're double building. Or, I'm sorry, is that 2 ETS flags, or was that an ETD ETS? Yeah. So, oh, wow. So, look, they just finished it too, right? So, you got 2 ETS flags that are going down here that they're building. ETD still has to come around and build the long way. It might be harder, though, if ETS is building, if they're building like that. Okay, now see, this is better for DYB, right? However, I hope they don't go and like fight in this thin choke again. Also, this is the other thing I want to point out. Some of the kind of opportunities here are don't fight when your units are just trailing in. You wait to group up and then you push in unison, right? So what's happening here is you're having. It's like this, right? It's like a trail, right? Instead of how it should look, which is like, here's your line, pushing, here's your new line. Here's your new line. Here's your new line, right? That's how you want it to be, where everyone's kind of moving the same. You don't want it to just be like, tick, 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 tick. We're just kind of, going along, right, one by one. You want everyone to push in unison. And again, these are what I would say are, I like to refrain from saying mistakes or like, oh, this is awful play. It's nothing like that. But these are opportunities that, again, you've seen other alliances improve upon, right? The only time you really should be pushing in kind of a free-for-all or in kind of a hands-free way. Tony, got good sleep? Drinking water. But the only time you really should be pushing in that is if you're chasing your opponents are fleeing and you're chasing them down and being able to kind of pick off the stragglers that are the farthest behind, then that's okay, right? Or if you're chasing down a smaller force, but you're always being aware and looking ahead, so you know when to disengage if needed. And I think this is a better position here for DYB and ROEz. Again, I'd like to see them spread a little bit more. I'd like to maybe see, something like this if they're out a bit more. Even if they want to potentially push from around here, right, and then flank, that could be something as well. But again, you have some people that are just kind of AFK sitting around, right, not really doing anything for some of the units. Again, that always hurts too as well. I don't think anybody wants to necessarily see anyone that's AFK. I think on the ETS ETD side, again, kind of pushing in from the other angle. Wow, look at this, dude. They're now the balls on these people, dude. Now they set up the next building to already position themselves for the next connect. So they're just like, dude, we're just going to build everywhere. Yeah. And this isn't bad, right? You got a couple here from DYB opting for the flank. Even though it's a few units, it looks like maybe just one player. But still, right? And I think it'll be easier once ROEz ends up building out that way. However, hopefully ROEz keeps sending units to fight and not just fighting Because again, if you're fighting in the open field like they're doing right now, you're not really getting any territory bonuses, right? If you're not fighting on territory at that point. And I think it will be required. I think it's really important for ROEz to come and support so that way DYB can get this flag down, which will help them. Because I think if you can build some flag into this open space, that's going to help a lot. And I think given once this flag finishes, I have a really... my feeling is that they're going to build somewhere around here. They're going to build another connecting flag here and then try to kind of meet them on this side because they're already about to meet them on this side, right? But I think this is a better play. You could see DYB and some of the ROZ members getting some better trades here on ETS because they're fighting more in an open field with, again, a wider area to operate in. Like we were talking about in the beginning, that's really important. I think that's where they're going to have to fight. Again, unless you're the ones that are pushing, or excuse me, unless you're getting pushed and you're defending in the way that ETS and ETD were, or if you're using these as secondary lanes to push from with smaller numbers, right? Even though your main force is here. So again, we'll see. I think this is pushing a little bit too much though from them. Again, if you're going to spread out this wide, you just need to make sure you have numbers. And I think ETS and ETD are getting some good reinforcements here, and you're probably going to see the momentum switch a bit. I wouldn't maybe push out this far at the moment. I think it depends if they end up getting some more people that are coming in. It doesn't really look like they are. So yeah, I mean, I would probably fall this back a little bit. I mean, even though it looks okay, I would probably still fall this back and I would regroup, right? And like, let's say you have a staging. The thing is, your staging area has to be in front of the flag. It can't be parallel with the flag. It can't be behind the flag. Or if DYB is going to fall back and maybe say like, oh, yo, let's just go over here real quick. Let's hit this flag with our force, and then we'll come back. That could be something. But if they do that, they'd have to pull the units off back building this flag and basically just kind of say, hey, we'll sweep here, and then we'll sweep back. You know, again, unless they have enough numbers to kind of split the forces. I think if ROEz was there kind of in full force, it might be a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, again, these are decisions you kind of have to make. I think clearing out the guards is a good idea too as well. So that way they're just not there hitting anyone accidentally from any AoE or splash damage. But yeah, I mean, man, this is turning into a pretty wild fight right now. Yeah, plus is probably going to go on for a minute, I would imagine. Yeah, man, now I got people letting me know about the fight happening in SS2-14. Maybe we'll take a look. Ooh. There we go. Help my nostril game out. Yeah, and this is the thing I was talking about, right? So they did opt for that. So they opted to basically pull back and then do a swing where the swing is coming over here. I think the challenge is that if they're going to do that, you need to be able to finish off this force relatively quickly so you can get to the builders. Otherwise, you're just going to get flanked. Interesting, though. Man, this is a missed opportunity, I think, for ETS and ETD. I would have maybe pushed this with a few more people here on this east side and applied pressure on the... I mean, it looks like they're probably going to get away with that anyways based on the numbers they have. I guess if they decided to push, I should say. But I would have pushed with a few more, maybe just try to get 20 units or 20 legions over there. And then push the east, apply pressure, and then just try and focus the builders. And then, again, just pick off stragglers one by one. You don't have to go deep. Just basically have... Like, if they're coming down, right? If this group is coming down, I would have essentially kind of this be your operating zone. So if anyone's here or close to here, then, again, just hit them at kind of max range and just play that, play that kind of harassing backdoor, like, flanking choke position. And this is the right play. They push up and they're applying pressure on the flag. That's why I said if you're going to do that and you're going to swing all the way left, you need to make sure that you're pulling those people back. In addition, and I don't know, because I'm not in the DYB or ROEz Discord, I think. I'd love to get an invite. Because for me, I'd love to see how many people are in voice. What are some of those announcements or instructions that are being issued out? And again, that's never me saying, providing kind of any kind of sensitive information, but just kind of getting an idea on, what does the organization look like, right? How are the announcements being distributed, right? Are they giving good tips? Are they giving good information? Are they educating there? Are they trying to make it so that instructions are a little bit more clear, more easily understood between the players that are out there in the field? Like, I think that's something that TFS does like a decently good job of when it comes to some of the announcements, and then the amount of people that they get in VC. I think GG is another group as well where they'll get some people. I've even seen a lot of people in the Ancients VCs as well when they're out fighting. And again, bear in mind, that's just for the ones that I catch and that I have access to, or I notice when I'm actually recording if a fight is going on, right? And then I also remember to go and look. It's the important part. But again, I love getting access to that, because I think, like I usually talk about, it just adds another layer of what we can discuss and what we can kind of add on to more value for how those groups are fighting out in the field. And this is another thing you're seeing here, which is from them building this flag. Okay, that felt great. From them building the flag here close to the river, it's opening up another lane, right? Which now it's opening up this lane. So you have this lane here. You have the lane here that coincides southeast of the flag. And then you have, I guess you have that. You have this lane too, even though this lane is connected to that over where the flag is. And then you can come over here on this side as well. So, I mean, again, you have options. But if I was them, if I was ETS, ETDR, I would keep applying pressure here on this eastern lane, on the flag, and hitting forces there at all times. Even if you wanted to go a little wider and come through here, or even here around this level 10 and just apply pressure on the ROEz reinforcement line, that's something you could do too as well. Like if you had some cav applying pressure there, I think that would be a good play. Oh, but dude, look at this. DYB and ROEz able to get to the flag now. Oh, I thought it was close. Looks like they maybe hit some builders. But this is the thing, man. Don't fall victim to the juicy lemon. And the juicy lemon in this case is the builders. Focus on the PvP, right? Kill the PvP units, and then go ahead and do the builders. Yeah. I think also just making sure your lines are tight, I think is really important. Where, if you're gonna fight, it's gotta be like this, right? And then you're just applying pressure, right, all over. Same thing here, right? Lines over here, and then you can apply your pressure as is. But just making sure that, again, you're having, one, that your lines are good, you're having good communication, you're having good organization in how you're setting yourselves up, and not just kind of like this. To me, this kind of feels a little bit trickly, right? Where you're kind of getting like this one-by-one play. I wouldn't push in that manner, right? Again, you still have a number of legions that are just, again, either AFK or just not at the front line, and that's where you organize. And again, when you look at how TFS and GG groups do it, they'll have members from both alliances, 2 or more alliances, in VC together. That's really important, right? So that way everyone can communicate. Now, they may be in separate VCs, the alliances, and then you'll just have the middlemen or members of management, the coordinators, that'll kind of go back and forth between the VCs. That's one way to do it, unless you want to have everyone in one VC, right? That's another thing that you can do. Or a stage channel, as an example, right? If you think you have more than 99 people. For a moment, I thought I smelled some burning, but it wasn't. It's always nice. Yes, let's see. Doesn't look like anything's hard happening, but now you're seeing a little more pressure here from DYB and ROEz. This is good. Again, that's what you want. Apply pressure in those lanes. And even here, they were able to hit some more builders off of that. But yeah, hopefully they'll correct a little bit of... Well, I mean, I probably shouldn't say correct, but hopefully they'll get some more reinforcements and they'll organize a bit. Because I will say this, like, part of it to me feels, I guess, somewhat on both sides, but a little bit more on the DYB ROEz side. It just feels a little more discombobulated, right? Where there's not kind of a cohesive grouping or pairing of how the players in the alliances are operating. I think ETD and ETS, even though mainly we've mostly been seeing a lot more ETS people, it does seem a little bit more coordinated because there's moments where they've semi-synced on pushing through multiple lanes or fighting lanes, more so than their opponents have thus far. Again, we'll have to watch some more. But I think those are a few things I'm noticing at the moment. And then with the bear, which, this is the thing, man. What do we talk about? If you're summoning the bear, you need to go aggressive, right? The bear is your CC aggro tank, right? That's kind of how you can look at the bear. And again, looking at them focusing, if they're focusing the bear, you should be focusing their units and crushing face. And again, they are pushing up. I would have liked for the push up to be a little earlier, right? Even if it was about 3 to 5 seconds earlier, right, to coincide when the bear. But nonetheless, this is still good. I will say this is still decently done. Where bear's out there hitting who he's hitting, you're following up and applying pressure with your units. And again, this is good, right? Like now it is starting to look a little bit better here for them. Hopefully they'll keep getting some more replenishment, hitting those units off. But again, also remembering to focus on the PvP units for the most part, as builders really should be secondary. And I say that if you're basically in the fight, right? So if you're still fighting, that really should be the focus, is that the PvP units always are the priority. Builders are your secondary at that point. Right. And I think this is well done. They were able to get the builders off the flag. Hopefully they'll clean up some of these PvP units, and the bear will just keep applying pressure within its operating space, which, yeah, I mean, it looks like it has. So hopefully it'll keep that damage output up by staying engaged as long as it can. And this is nice, man. I think this is a good victory here for them. And, you know, at times it could even help with, you know, some morale boosting too as well. Right, so they're like, push, now we're destroying. Now, this is the thing about this, right, is if you're going to aim to destroy this flag, you need to be spreading out a little bit more here and then trying to push from this side with the bear. This is a little better now because they just kind of have a smaller secondary force here. However, keep in mind that there's not almost enough pressure being put here around the flag area for the secondary force to be as effective as it could be. Doesn't mean that it still may not get some positive trades. It's just that if the primary attention's here, that's where you then take advantage of the secondary focus, and then your tertiary or your third focus front, which would be over here on the east. And then you could argue maybe fourth on the mound. Yeah. We'll see what they opt for. Where we at? I need someone to do a yawn counter for me. That's what I'm gonna have when I make it big. It's gonna be a yawn counter. We'll see, we've been going 43 minutes, but we're mostly going to trim this down a little bit just to avoid some of the dead or the filler time. The bear's still alive. But I always find it interesting when I'm watching PvP. The behemoths I always feel like the behemoths last longer than I think they do. You know? I wonder if anyone else feels that way. Maybe it's just me. It's like, man, this behemoth has been alive forever. Really need another tissue box. Okay, looks like ETS is making a move here. Spreading out a little bit. Looks like they're sending a few more people pushing down that lane. Doesn't look like anyone's really fighting there. Still getting a build off. 10 minutes left on there. Maybe we could put a few more on it. You know, the bear is still going. So now this is the thing, right? Where now ETS, ETD are applying a little bit more pressure here on DYB and ROEz. You need to make sure that if you're sending people on this flag to build, around this stage is when you disengage and you turn these people into fighters, right? That, I think, for me, is the one thing that I would love to see done at a higher level that we just haven't really seen yet across all the PvP and all the KVKs that I've watched, which is where you can put 20, 30, 40 people on a flag building or destroying, but if a fight is about to come, everyone can disengage relatively around the same time and then immediately start fighting. And then if the fight's won, they go right back to building. Like that, to me, would be, I think, another level of seeing higher quality, higher true skill PvP in the open field, right, on understanding kind of when to engage, when to disengage when it comes to building and or destroying flags or structures. Because now it just kind of feels like the opposite's happening, right? It's like everyone just front loads builders, but then you're not really seeing like a high consistent level of full disengagement from the builders. And that's disengagement to return home or disengagement to fight when the PvP is basically right up front. Right, so it happens to ETS, ETD. Oh, sorry, it happens to DYB. ETS, ETD first. Or no, sorry, happens to DYB, ROEz first, over here on this flag, right? And then it happened to ETS, ETD, but mainly ETS on their flag. And then now it's coming full circle and happening a second time. And it's like, you would have thought you would have learned that lesson there on that one. Right, when your flag just before this one pretty much had all its builders destroyed, And again, I say that because to me, like, it just makes sense, right? If I'm out there fighting, these are instructions that I'm immediately giving people before the PvP even starts, so everyone is aware. Like, hey, this is how you should do things, so you save your hospital bills. Because again, maybe some of those units could have been fighting units, right? They may not all be transport units, as an example. And so again, right, you're trying to reduce the amount of severely wounded that's going to your hospital, increasing their survivability, and then allowing for them to be used in a little bit more of a pure PvP setting versus this, which is kind of more defensive and I don't want to say passive, we'll say, because you're building at that point. Oh, man. All right, I'm at 48 minutes, but I know, like I said, I'm going to end up crunching this down. I think we're going to pause it here for a little bit and hope that we'll be able to get some more PvP from this group and from others with these 4 new KVKs from SS2-11 through 14. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think, again, on how things are going now. If you're playing here, are you excited for the start of it? If you're a viewing bystander, did you enjoy some of the PvP that we saw? Do you agree? Do you disagree with some of the points I made? Any thoughts you'd like to provide? Other types of PvP that we can capture here as well. Let me know anything and everything in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.